Scott Jennings gave a brutal reality check live on CNN, and even Van Jones couldn't hide how betrayed he felt. You see, Scott Jennings looked like the only person at CNN willing to say what everyone else was thinking. Okay, so when Van Jones tried to soften the blow after the the new mayor of New York City, the rant, Jennings cut straight through the noise and said the quiet part out loud. And CNN didn't expect that kind of honesty on their own panel, especially when Van Jones had admitted that the speech was a bit of a mess. Scott Jones called out the shift in tone. Van Jones admitted it made the left nervous, and CNN ended up just exposing a crack inside its own house before the show even ended. So, as Scott Jennings warned, the tells were obvious, okay? Where quotations that planted a flag on the socialist left, jabs at wealth, and promise that government is the fix for every human problem. CNN couldn't pretend this was a warm bipartisan handshake. Van Jones sounded like a guy who knows what a general election audience hears when rage becomes the headline. Okay, so Scott Jennings treated it like the opening argument of a long policy trial. So this is coming in from everywhere, including New York Post, where they talked about how Van Jones was among those raising alarm at, the new mayor of New York, Mamdani's instant character switch after winning power. Okay, so we can also go ahead and watch and listen to this as well.
I think he missed an opportunity. I think the Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer, who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech. And I think that Mamdani is the one you need to hear from tonight. There are a lot of people trying to figure out, can I get on this train with him or not? Is he going to include me? Is he going to be more of a class warrior even in office? I think he missed a chance tonight to open up and bring more people into the tent. I think his tone was sharp. I think he was using the microphone in a way that he was almost yelling. And that's not the Mamdani that we've seen on TikTok and the great interviews and stuff like that. So I felt like there's a little bit of a character switch here where the warm, open, embracing guy that's close to working people was not on stage tonight, and there was some other voice on stage. That said, he's very young, and he just pulled off something that's very, very difficult. And I wouldn't write him off, but I think he missed an opportunity to open himself up tonight, and I think that will probably cost him going forward.
Cope harder, Van Jones. Cope harder. Oh, boy. So basically, let's be real. You can chalk up celebration to adrenaline, but message discipline matters when power changes hands. You see, a win frames the next 4 years, and the frame here was hard edge, not open hand. And the only thing to say about this is that Scott Jennings was right. And the woke left are now seeing that in real time. CNN viewers heard the anger more than the agenda. Now, Van Jones heard it too and said the quiet part out loud. The moment to invite skeptics was wasted. Scott Jennings added the part where nobody else wanted to say and stuff, where basically this wasn't even a tone glitch. It was the point. Okay, so we have here where Scott Jennings in his "I told you so" moment telling them that, well, basically you should have just listened when I warned you about these things before.
Oh, are you saying he wasn't the unifying voice of a generation that you predicted mere moments ago? Axe, where was the man that you predicted would not slice and dice the? Look, guys, he started his speech by quoting Eugene Debs, who ran for president of the United States 5 times as the Socialist Party of America candidate. He repeatedly attacked people in this. No, I know my socialists. I keep a close eye on them. I work here. So here's the thing. He went after everybody that he thinks is a problem. People who own things, people who have businesses. He said an interesting quote: "No problem too large for government to solve."
Or too small. important.
And so when you think of the world that way, that every problem, no matter how small or how large, is something for government to do, let me just decipher this for you. Tax increases as far as the eye can see, which means the people who need to provide jobs to the young people that you say need jobs are going to flee as quickly as they possibly can. I think this was a divisive speech, and he clearly sees the world in terms of the people who are oppressing you and the oppressed. And he said the oppressed are now in City Hall.
Well, he did say it and stuff. He definitely said it. Okay, so you know what? It wasn't only the loud list, it was the checklist. No problem too large for government is a worldview right now. Panelists tried to go ahead and spin it as, compassion, but CNN didn't look thrilled as the clip rolled again, and they simply just, ignored the warnings of Scott Jennings. Okay, so Van Jones has been generous to progressive figures for years, where he even balked at this posture when it counted. Scott Jennings connected the dots between the rhetoric and the policy direction that rhetoric applies. You see, they should have just listened to people like Scott Jennings, and now they're seeing it for themselves. The reaction downstream showed the new rules of the media game. Okay. Radio hosts cheered the victory lap and told critics to sit down, which is convenient if you like applause more than persuasion. Okay, so basically CNN just looked stuck between honest analysis and audience management. Van Jones warned that, the campaign version and the governing version didn't match. Oh, well, this is what so many people out there warn the people on the left about, whether it be people on the right as well as those who are even centered. Okay, so Scott Jennings definitely cautioned that, the governing version is the real one. You see, people who run cities have to face the math, not hashtags. Budgets don't care about slogans, okay? And honestly put police staffing, sanitation, and small businesses on survival duty. You see, CNN can feel this all they want to, and they say it every time. Van Jones heard a door slam on persuadable voters who wanted basic competence first. Scott Jennings underlined what business owners heard, and if you build something, you are now the villain of the script. Okay. So basically, there's definitely a corporate subplot running in the background, which Scott Jennings talked about. Okay, so that makes this even weirder and stuff. You see, ownership shifts and mergers change newsroom incentives, and staff can feel when the wind changes direction. You see, CNN might soon answer to a different set of bosses with, different red lines. Van Jones know what a new owner means for now panels, for how panels frame the fight. Scott Jennings knows too, and he's built for the version where analysis beats cheerleading. Okay. Funny part about this, even, Charlemagne the demigod and stuff blasted, Van Jones' criticism for the new New York City mayor's speech and stuff. And I really wish I had the video here, but it wasn't pulled up at the time. Wait, I think this is it right here, I believe. Let me make sure.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and
no, it's not. But yeah, he basically told him to shut the F up forever and everything. And he also stated that the dude just won and all of that. And, freedom of speech was political speech was silence and stuff. When Trump got in office, The split on the broader left right now is real. Activists want a smash the gas agenda. Institutional Democrats want to look responsible while nudging the wheel. Now that divide will land on newsroom desks in real time. You see, CNN cannot be both the activist channel and the suburban reassurance channel on the same night, without whiplash. Okay, so Jones occupies the lane that tries to translate radical heat for mainstream ears, okay? And even he couldn't sell that speech. Jennings fills the role of the guy who says, stop selling, start reading what the words mean. Okay, I mean, it's just as simple as that. Okay, but apparently they didn't really get the message either. All right, and that's really unfortunate. But saying that, you know, that this will never happen again and stuff, there's a reason where voters flinch at cap that wealth so it can never happen again talk. You see, it's not sympathy for billionaires, it's self-defense for strivers who want room to climb. CNN viewers and fans of Scott Jennings include small landlords, franchise merchants, and gig hustlers. I mean, they heard themselves getting sized up. You see, Van Jones, you know, basically flagged that risk instantly because he understands that television's silent audience, and Scott Jennings called the proposal what it is. Basically, government deciding your ceiling, okay? Now, the first test of any new administration is not ribbon cutting either. It's how they handled a self-inflicted fire. I mean, pick a fight with the city's producers and you learn what cash flow looks like when confidence leaves, okay? So CNN anchors and get this, which is why the smiles look tight. Van Jones has watched that movie before and knows how it ends in midterms. Scott Jennings has seen what happens when the tax base, you know, reads the room and starts scanning real estate listings in cities away. Okay, so to basically, here's another funny part right here too. You see, the mayor-elect of New York City has recently, it was recently showed or exposed that this stupid ad right here has been exposed, and no, not exposed. He actually said it the 2 days after he got elected, that he's admitting that he wants to take aggressive action on socialist agenda, saying it's a mandate, basically telling the people that supported him it's now time to go ahead and give money. Oh yeah. It's a whole big mess right now, and now the people are going to see for themselves, and they're going to see on crime and order. And this speech offered, you know, posture instead of a plan. Okay, so safety doesn't return because a microphone shouts. It returns when policy backs the cops. Courts move cases, and repeat offenders feel consequences. CNN audiences have lived through waves of theory that made neighborhoods worse. You see, Van Jones sounded like, you know, a guy who didn't want, you know, to ride that carousel again. Okay. Scott Jennings pressed the point that trust takes years to rebuild and 1 week to wreck. And then there's also the whole government grocery store idea that floats around whenever activists want to push change. You see, Scott Jennings has been speaking out about families who want stable prices, full shelves, and open hours. They don't care which logo provides it. CNN viewers know what happens when City Hall tries to run a supermarket where the costs balloon, selection shrinks, and politics decides the cereal aisle. Now, Van Jones is not naive about those outcomes. The man has been Blue City have seen Blue City experiments flop. Scott Jennings pushed the simple test, and if it fails at the cash register, it fails the people. Okay, so basically, a real coalition requires a lot of respect for people who didn't clap at your rally. That was missing on stage. You see, CNN can host 10 town halls, but if the mayor treats skeptics as enemies, those seats stay empty. Jones called it a missed bridge, and Scott Jennings called it a warning. And coalitions don't come back once you tell them that they're not welcome. Okay, so basically, I mean, the national media calculus comes next. If you pick a side of the left and back it, or try to referee a civil war without becoming the story. Producers hate that choice because every camera angle loses someone. CNN will claim neutrality, but the Chirons and booking patterns will give away the bet. Van Jones will test how much frankness the control room can tolerate when the agenda clashes with results. You see, Scott Jennings will keep bringing receipts from the real world. Regular people don't speak in labels. They track whether, life gets easier or harder. Fall and lectures increase that they move or revolt at the ballot box. CNN can't sermonize them out of lived experience. Van Jones knows a focus group language that shows up when patience runs out. Scott Jennings reads those lines and translates them into outcomes: lost seats, lost cities, lost trust. Okay, so in the end, nothing here is complicated. A city executive signaled that government will choose winners and set ceilings while shaming producers who keep the lights on. I mean, CNN watched it live and tried to square honesty with brand alignment. Van Jones himself told the truth about, the opportunity that got tossed aside, and Scott Jennings told the truth about what the agenda actually promises. Okay, now, the rest is just arithmetic. Scott Jennings will keep testing the arguments until the facts settle the debate. And once they do, the voters will deliver the only panel verdict that matters. So be sure to let me know your thoughts about this. Smash like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.